What's Up and Why, bringing you the bright side of life, one fun moment at a time. Brought to you by the New Thought Media Network. Please put your hands together for your hosts, Rev KC Taylor and Miss B Lovely.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
We had a baby just come and crash the show. Right before we hit live, baby came and crashed the show. I'm Rev KC Taylor. I use they, them pronouns.
I am Miss B Lovely. I use she, her pronouns. This is baby KK who came to join us. Thanks for joining us for a special live edition of What's Up and Why. We are live in Illinois, outside of Chicago. How do you be today?
Indeed, we are. I drove through St. Louis to get here. I brought my stepson Charlie, and I heard y'all catching up while I was using the restroom before we came down to record live. And I didn't get an opportunity to tell you that the reason Charlie and I did not spend any time sightseeing in St. Louis when we were there is because I had a virtual interview at 4 p.m. So I had to get somewhere with my laptop. And I'm happy to report that I got an offer letter a half an hour after that interview took place. So I sent my counter offer. And I'm grateful that it's a job that I really wanted, that there's been a lot of changes that have made the job I wanted even more than when I applied for it originally. So I'm super excited to have my money shit worked out, especially as I got this money shit program launching. This is going to be the only banner we got running through the show. One, because money shit's coming up soon. So UnitedLife.org, that's where you do it. But because we got babies and are live, we can't be out here pushing all the buttons. So that's going to be what we do. That's what we got going on. So I'm happy to report I'm doing well. This trip has, step in the city celebration, got my job, got to hang out with you. We got Cam here. Kai is in the other room.
It's been a very, you was talking about, we're not going to be pushing buttons. I've learned that babies can push your buttons in a good way, though. Love the little babies. I had to break up a little fight. It sounded like a little gang war going on upstairs because the babies didn't want to share their toys among each other. So I was like, okay, maybe, separation. If both of you guys can't share, then maybe nobody should have it. And they were not happy about that. It sounded like World War III. But, trying to enjoy this family time that we have while we're out of town. Yesterday, I went to a little birthday party at Six Flags for one of our cousins, his cousin's birthday. So I got to get on some roller coasters for the first time in several years, which was
that's a good one. So that Six Flags Great America is where I grew up. That was the amusement park that I was at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times a year. So I'm grateful. I haven't been on those roller coasters in a long time. My body, my old butt. I need to take a Dramamine. Around 27, I needed to take Dramamines to get on those roller coasters, and now I don't even bother. 45 and roller coasters don't mix as well. So enjoy it while you got it.
I hope that at 45 I can still do roller coasters, because I was kind of apprehensive because I don't do the ones that do the steep drops. I do the ones that shoot you in the air, twist and turns and all that stuff. And I was like, let's see, because I haven't been on it in a few years. Got on, and I was like, yo, I feel like a big kid. Let's do it. So I was getting on all the twists and turnings, and I'm hoping my body can still deal with it.
You would know. If your body couldn't deal with it, you would know then and there. So props to your body for being able to handle it. Vertigo has gotten worse. I always when I was a kid, I used to read in the car. We would go to the bookstore and I would read all the books before I got home. And now I can't read a text in the car. I get nauseous. And so my vertigo is that's just my thing. Older I get, the more spinny my head gets. I don't know.
I get like that when I play video games. I used to be able to play video games on a Game Boy and a PSP. But I noticed even when I was a young teenager, 13, 14, when I would try to play driving games and stuff, if I'm playing it for too long, I would start to get nauseous. My head would get dizzy and all that stuff. And I used to be like, what the heck is going on with me? And so I realized, what vertigo is. I'm like, oh, so that's what it is. And I had that since I was a teenager. So I just know I can't sit and play video games for a long period of time. So my body be like, girl, something about to happen.
I hear you. That the first person shooter games that as you move, it's moving. And the other thing, the Oculus headsets, I've never, since those were invented, I can't mess with those. They make me sick just putting them on. When I worked at Juvie still has an immersive and interactive department, and they were developing content, virtual VR content for those headsets that were designed. I really like, I sing Juvie's praises all the time, that the whole mission was about utilizing technology as a way for people to step into the shoes of an experience that's different from them. And so they really saw the power of virtual reality, of like, you step into this world, you literally walk in this person's identity. And so they did some things like, there was this incredible immersive exhibit that was at the DuSable History Museum about, it was like being at the I Have a Dream speech, the Martin Luther King I Had a Dream speech, the March on Washington. And I didn't get an opportunity to experience it because it dropped in Black History Month, February of 2020. So I didn't, we know what happened in March of 2020. I didn't get to Chicago in the 1 month before the whole city shut down. But they were constantly like, we were just trying new things out. And I was like, I cannot, props to what y'all are doing in this department, but I can't put one of these things on my head. I really cannot.
So you just said something that piqued my interest. Everything you said piqued my interest. There was one word in particular, DuSable.
Yes.
When you go around Chicago, I see that name a lot. I heard somebody at my job talk about how DuSable basically was like very important to Chicago, but who is this? I'm
about to be a bad Chicagoan right now and tell you. And I love this. I love that I'm being called out on the internet, because I think it's important that apparently, we're here. Family Shenanigans is the title of this episode. And being born and raised in Chicago, one would think that I would have ever been to the only Black History museum Chicago has to offer, the DuSable Museum. I've never, ever been, ever. Which I think partially speaks to the schools that I went to on the north side that never, ever had a field trip to the south side for Black History museums. There are many museums on the south side, so it's not the south side of it all. They never ever took us there. And the high school that I went to, predominantly white high school that I went to, the security guard organized this like secret field trip amongst the Black folks, where he would like talk to us in the hallway and be like, on a Saturday. And I was like, no part of me was trying to go to do school things on a Saturday with the security guard. Like, for this man to be pulling me to the side in the hallways, I was like, no, I'm not doing this. And part of that just has to do with like being a safe 16-year-old. Like, just because you Black, I'm not about to go. I don't know anything about what we about to do over here. I don't know you like that. You're the security guard. This is not like the school sanctioned activity. So like for me, that was sketchy as all get out. And so I was like, nah, I'm good on that. And it kind of like, I know his heart was in the right place, but it's like, I think about the fact that I grew up, and I've mentioned this on the show, growing up in Chicago, and in a time when R. Kelly was a known predator and nobody cared, that our job as young girls were just to stay away from R. Kelly because we know he's a predator, as opposed to like, let's not let R. Kelly do this anymore. That like, being born and raised in the city, was very much like, you've got to take care of yourself. If the security is offering you a field trip that seems like it's on the up and up and scholastic and for your education empowerment, you may not want to trust him, So like, I didn't know. I didn't know what to do about it. I thought it was weird.
Yeah.
And it kind of like soured me on the whole, like, no part of me was like, but what's this museum I've never been to? Yeah. Maybe I need to go. Like, that didn't happen. I just like saw it as weird. And because I was one of the few Black, there was no other Black kids in my whole class. So it wasn't like all the other Black kids were like, oh yeah, we're going to go. This is the thing we always do with him. Like I was like, this is just weird. So long story about why I've never ever been to the DuSable Museum and don't know who DuSable is, but grateful for the invitation to maybe on this trip or another one to finally get to that museum. Yeah. Clearly I really need to.
Well, it's a good thing that you listen to your intuition, because it clearly led you in the right direction. Because
I don't know, it might be great.
He may have had good intentions, but it's good to listen to that voice that's, that gut feeling, that voice in your head. And like, as I'm talking about the voice in your head, I just finished 2 Chainz' book, rapper 2 Chainz.
2 Chainz.
2 Chainz. He has a new book that he just came out with called the voice in my head is God. And basically in the book, he's talking about how instances in his life where he listened to that gut feeling, the voice in his head, and it has protected him. In the times where he didn't listen to him, it was kind of not detrimental, but bad things happened. So the whole book basically talks about how everybody is built with some type of alarm system, intuition, if you will, and how that alarm system is supposed to protect you and guide you through life and everything. And his stories, like he had very, very interesting stories, like about how one time he was about to go to the club with his friends, and the voice in his head said he was a drug dealer during the time. He was very open about it in the book. He was like, he had a package. The voice in his head said, you should leave this at home. He's like, nah, I'm just bring it with me. And then they end up getting pulled over by police. So he just, has examples and stuff like that. And I know we've talked about this before.
This is the whole premise of making peace with your inner shit talker. Like, it's literally the premise. And I love that I'm finding out right now that you were reading this book and that it leads with that, because the part of the program is including resources. Like, it's not just my perspective of the ways in which I make peace with my inner shit talker. You could read about 2 Chainz's experience of making peace with his inner shit talker and trusting and listening to his inner wisdom. And I haven't officially published a hard copy of the book yet. And part of that comes from the fact that I don't feel like super solid in my book recommendations. So I think maybe this is a book that I need to read before sending out my list of recommended reading around this subject. This is something I need to read. Thank you for putting me on.
I think that you would like it. And honestly, I think the audio book is a great experience.
That's my favorite. Yes.
I love it because like the way how he's narrating the audio book, it is not a traditional way. Like he has like background music to like help paint the picture of the scene of like whatever type of story that he's telling. Like when he was in the hospital with his dad, like he had the music playing, like the sounds of the machines and stuff, and like the sounds of like doctors and stuff in the background. It's very, very animated, and at the same time he's saying very true and authentic to himself. Like he doesn't sound like someone who's trying to pretend like, like, oh, I'm just gonna read this book like how normal audiobooks is. Like, no, he's talking in his true authentic self, like using slang, and just being real expressive and cussing and stuff. I like it. It's a very enjoyable experience.
That sounds so fun. I love, like, you put me on to reading Mariah's book as an audiobook, and the experience you sent me, you just put me on. You sent me, it's the only thing I got on Audible is Mariah's book. And that experience of, I was like, oh yeah, I got it. I'm reading it. And you're like, no, you need to listen to the audiobook, because the way, it's not just like hearing the author tell their own story and hear the emotion in their voice as they tell their own story. But as you spoke to, is 2 Chainz of speaking the way that he speaks, getting to hear their story told in their own voice. But the power of audio technology makes it so that they can do different things with sound. So it's not just somebody reading the book. It is an experience that you wouldn't get, like your imagination. Sure, your imagination can do what it does. I love that we're having this conversation about audiobooks, especially because like I've been doing a lot of I've been like engaging in more content about reading. I've been participating. There's this Facebook group called Black Girls Read, where somebody would say something like, I'm looking for a book about this, or I'm going through this. What's a good book? Or somebody be like, how does everybody feel about The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison? And so I get to read a bunch of Black women's comments about what that book meant for them, and I get to share what that experience meant for me. It's kind of like, I don't know, Goodreads. My mom's really into Goodreads, and I've never been into it, but I think maybe I could use some community around reading, because I'm really feeling the call to talk more about books and read more often.
Yeah, and it's always fun to be able to talk about the books that you're reading, the books that really impacted you, and then getting some good ideas on like, okay, what's another new book that I can pick up and read and stuff. So that's good that you're in that. I didn't want to join that group.
All right. Yeah, I know. Black Girls Read. Like, why wouldn't you?
Exactly. It's like I'm on Arsenio Hall's memoir now and listening to the audiobook, because I love a good audiobook. And that's a really fun experience too.
I bet. I love that you are fighting that difference. Jennifer Lewis, the mother of Hollywood, her audiobook to me was really good. I didn't even pick up the hard copy.
I loved her audiobook. I always be playing like, because there was a chapter where it was like called Shoulders Back, Titties Forward. It's like the way how she was saying it in the audiobook. It's like she brought the theater into the book.
She does, and that's the whole thing of like certain authors like is great for that versus like I've been listening to more audiobooks because I've noticed for myself that my attention span has decreased substantially in the last 10 years. And I didn't, I'm in my phone just like everybody else in the world is in their phone. And I just really recognized that I can't read a book the way that I used to read a book. And what that's meant is that I don't read nearly as much as I used to. And so I've been reading a lot more audiobooks, and some of the writers, like when an author reads their book, but they're not like a professional actor, like it's really not necessarily as good. You know what I mean? Like you've got to be a really particular kind of author. Like Mariah is not a professional. Well, she's kind of a professional actress. If it was up to her, she would be. But like she's not like a Jennifer Lewis of somebody who's known for her acting chops, but the way that she told her own story in the audiobook was so personal, and it's her true story versus like a fictional writer telling something that like this is a story they had in their imagination, and they don't necessarily tell it as good as an actor might. Like I listened to The Wizard of Oz by Brooke Shields, and like Brooke Shields did an incredible job of doing the voices of the Munchkin and the Queen.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, wait, does she have a book called?
No, it was The Wizard of Oz, and she was the actress who they hired to read the book, read the audiobook. And I enjoyed it very much versus the rest of the Wizard of Oz books in the series are read by this old white man who does
puts you to sleep.
And he does a terrible job of doing the women's voices. Like, and Wizard of Oz is such a girl story. The main characters are girls, and this British old white man who they hired, I can tell from his voice, and is like the girl voices is horrible. And so I can't even list, like, if I want to read more of the Wizard of Oz book series, L. Frank Baum series, I gotta just read those books because the audiobooks are atrocious.
Okay, that's good to know. Also, I didn't even realize that The Wizard of Oz is a girl story, but then you think about it, I was like, yeah, it really is.
I mean, Dorothy, yeah, there's all women in there. Like the men are all side characters. And L. Frank Baum did that on purpose. So shout out to him.
Learning something
being
new.
Proactive.
Learning something new. Okay, so we're gonna go into our next segment, Do Better Blues.
All right.
For Do Better Blues, we're talking about media. We're staying on the theme of medium. I don't know, you probably have noticed, we are living in an era where you don't really own the media that
the physical media.
Yeah,
you pay a subscription service and you can get whatever you want, whatever they got that day.
So Sony just recently announced that with the new, they're phasing out physical discs, and moving forward, you won't be able to go to a store, go online, buy a physical disc for a game. You will have to pay for it through a subscription service within Sony. So it's like you buy the game in the Sony app, and then you just have it digitally, but you don't physically have the disc. It's something that, we're starting to see a lot more of, like with Apple Music, with Spotify. You pay a subscription. You don't physically own the album unless you buy it digitally and it stays in your digital device, but you don't physically have it. I recently, last episode I was talking about Obsession. I bought Obsession I rented it on demand. But the thing is, like with Blockbuster, they gave you I forgot how long that you had of a window.
It depended on the new, like if it was a new release that just came out yesterday, it would be like a day. Where if it was like an older movie that's not in much demand, you get more time. And it depended. They changed the policy consistently.
Okay.
How it went.
So
that's why you don't know, because it was not consistent.
Okay, that makes sense, because I was like, when I rented Obsession, they said I only had 48 hours to watch. I'm like, wait a minute, but what if I got something to do and I want to come back to it? But my whole thing is to this. The way how society is going and how all these companies are more so focused on, their bottom dollar and not really focusing on the actual experience for the customer. When I used to play video games, I loved getting the physical disc. I loved getting the case that it would come in, getting the booklet, reading about the developers, reading the little side stories and everything that they have in the booklets and stuff. And then the booklets, just like with CDs and stuff, like they would probably have a preview of like what's coming next, something personal. Like with CDs, you would get the little thank yous. I loved reading that and stuff. But with us moving away from physical media, owning physical media, I feel like there's going to be more of a disconnect, because for me growing up, I felt more connected to my albums to my games, because when I would be bored in the house and didn't feel like, either listening to music or playing games, I would want to read. And what would I read? I would love to read those booklets. So many booklets that I used to collect and just reading front to back and stuff. And I feel like that really takes away from the experience of that medium of what you're using when you don't get to physically hold it, feel it, maybe even smell it, like with the book and stuff. Like, I appreciate audiobooks. I appreciate Kindle books and everything. There's nothing like opening up that book and smelling the fresh pages, feeling the pages on your hand as you're turning it and everything. I just feel like it makes you feel more connected and value it a lot more. So with Sony saying that they're getting rid of physical discs and you only have to buy it through the system, what if the system goes down? Last year, when the whole workforce system crashed and people couldn't get their emails, there was a lot of game systems that was down. It was connected to a lot of things. What if something happens and people, if you buy these games and stuff, you want to play it, the system's down, you can't play it because you don't have a physical disc. You have to go into the system and everything. And, I just want us to just be prepared for the future, because with everything starting to go digital and stuff, I kind of think, that may spell going for trouble in the future.
I'm finding in our family Shenanigans that we are noticing this theme of the impact of living in a digital era, of living in an era where we don't necessarily need to think for ourselves to write a post, that, we can use ChatGPT to do a lot of our thinking for us. And I mentioned my diminished attention span. As the deeper I go into the digital era, the more I'm noticing the ways in which I'm losing my ability to focus on a book, on reading and completing a book from beginning to end. There was a study that came out recently that I reposted on my personal page. So if you're watching this on my personal page, you can probably scroll and find it, about how the digital era is advancing faster than our brains can catch up with. So I think that there's a lot of value in you reminding us of, despite the fact that the world is changing, there are still opportunities to engage in physical media content. That vinyl made a comeback after streaming is now a thing. Vinyl has become something that's beloved, where people are buying records and listening to records, and the sound of vinyl cannot be compared to what you get in a streaming service. And as I'm thinking about do better and how we're encouraging one another to engage in the physical universe, because that's where we live in, is a physical universe. I'd like to give reverence to the United Life Center for Spiritual Living community. This community has allowed for me to live this life of unlimited time off, where I can apply for a whole nother full-time job and still trust it. And they trust me to get done what needs to be done, give me the freedom and empower me to travel to Chicago in the middle of the week. I'm going to be back on Sunday, giving the message for United Life Spirit Uncuffed is what we call our Sunday gathering. And we call it a gathering, not a service, because people are like, what is this? Like, service is not the word. So gathering is the word. And I want to give my reverence, my love, my gratitude for this community that is demonstrating the power of physical community, of showing up to a place live in person on Sunday, empowering each other to live happy, healthy, abundant lives. That's our vision. That's what we do. So the fact that this community, that was their vision before I got there. I showed up and I'm like, oh, this what y'all do? Bet. I'm in. And that's what we do. That's what we're about. So I'm grateful that, as we are living in this digital era, I'm a part of a community that understands the value of physical connection, of hugs, of showing up for each other. And many of them are not on social media or have healthy relationships to the fact that we live in a digital era. And I'm grateful for the ways in which they inspire me to do better. So shout out, giving reverence to United Life. And they are who, I'm doing this Money Shit program. Do you know how many spiritual centers in these here in the United States would let me offer a program called Money Shit and advertise it called Money Shit? Like, it was, I'm in Chicago, I open up my email, and the email, that's the subject line, Money Shit. Like, from your local Oklahoma Spiritual Center. Who would ever anticipate that? So I'm grateful that I get to experience creative freedom, spirit is where this idea come from. I wasn't like, let me be edgy and come up with a prosperity program that makes my spiritual center uncomfortable. I was like, this is what came to me. And my community was like, yeah. And
you
so
listen to the voice in your head, the voice in your head.
Yes. My inner shit talker was like, what do you think of this? And it was a whole, I've said this in other videos that's on my page it was a whole breadcrumb of starting with having an accessible program. In my mind, it started with 30 days, and then I brought it down to 7 days, 7 minutes, $7. Register at unitedlife.org.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, thank you for sharing that with giving reverence. Now, do you have anything for your program?
We don't have banners. I don't have things in front of me. So what I've been doing is I've been cycling through the Money Shit program. So if you are interested in the reflection question, the making peace with your inner shit talker reflection question, register for Money Shit, and you'll get 7 days of them starting. They just get texted to you. So you don't have to do anything. You literally get to open your phone and do with whatever you want to do that's texted to you, starting on July 27th through August 3rd.
So there's still time to sign up, guys. This is our first time doing this show in person.
Yes.
I don't know how many episodes we are deep in, but I know we've put quite a lot of time into this. And I just want to say, I'm grateful that, you're my cousin, first of all.
Me too.
You're excellent co-host. And we get to be together in person. And with us talking about, appreciating physicalness, being present in this day and age where the digital world is really taking over, I just want to implore everybody, to take a moment to try to have some real face time with the people who are important to you in your life. Yeah, we can FaceTime. Yeah, you can talk on the phone, send a text and stuff. But if you can, try to make time for the people that are important to you in your life. Be physical. Be very present while you're being in the physical presence of somebody. And, just enjoy the people that are in your life and let them know that you love them and you care for them.
I love Be Lovely's gems. How you be ending our episodes with Be Lovely's gems.
It just coming to me, the voice in my head.
I'm here for it. The voice in my head says, let me pray us out. So I invite each of us, wherever we are, to take a moment and consciously connect with our own understanding of the divine, knowing that our inner wisdom knows what divine looks like and feels right for us individually, that spirit is personal to each of us. And I am grateful that we have shown up to lean into the brighter side of life, one fun moment at a time, to discuss the value of physical connection, despite the fact that this is a virtual show. And I'm grateful for the example that we lead. I'm grateful for the shift that takes place in the universe because we have engaged in and connected in the ways that we have. And I'm grateful for the shift that takes place as a result of it. So in gratitude, I invite us to close this prayer however each of us is most comfortable. I choose to close by saying, and so it is.
Amen. Thank you for the prayer. And, thank you for agreeing to come out to do this show live. I'm glad that we got to, be with each other, and we're going to enjoy some cousin time today. So everybody, I hope that you have a great day. You can join us again, same time, same place next week. We're going to be bringing you the bright side of life, one fun moment at a time.
And we will likely be on time next week. This is the first time we've ever been really, really late. So.
Oh, wow. I didn't even address the time. That's how I am. I show up late and don't even address it.
Fashionably late. Doesn't matter.
Fashionably late.
Y'all have the best week ever. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye-bye, guys.